Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Deiser. I'm here with my Damie Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
I can't stop thinking about this movie we watched this weekend, Lucifer Effect. What'd you think of this?
Was it called Lucifer Effect?
I don't know.
No, the book's called Lucifer Effect.
What was the movie called?
It wasn't called that.
Gosh, I'm not sure. It's a movie about Dr. Philip Zimbardo, and it's about a study that was done, I think, in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And I had read the book before, but seeing the movie was just really, really eye-opening about what went down. Mm-hmm. It's a story about the balance of power and what happens when people get power.
It's a true story depicting the study.
Mm-hmm. So the study was, they set up a prison at Stanford, a fake prison, and they had people, they paid people $15 a day to be part of the study. You were either a guard or a prisoner.
Students, young males.
Mm-hmm. And what took place from there was just astonishing. I mean, my gosh.
Unbelievable. And it only ended up lasting 6 days. And what took place in those 6 days, you know, the guards ended up abusing the prisoners. Mm-hmm. The prisoners complied
with pretty much
everything that the guards...
The mental torture that they went through it was just unbelievable.
It was wild to see. These people forgot they were in a study for a better, there's better ways to describe it, but they definitely were, just seeing how easily the human mind can be manipulated and rationale can just go out the window, and how people can abuse power.
We talk about this all the time, and I think, we got talking about this when I first read the book back 10 years ago, but it's a larger reflection of how society works.
It's scary.
And they figured out a lot from this, a study about how people are manipulated and how when people get power, what they can do and become. And my gosh, it's scary.
Yeah, and for me, all that is scary and true, but also just how you can start to believe your current situation is your reality.
Yes.
That's really scary and so true for all of us if we think of... That's why, when you're in times of, terrible things are happening and you hear spiritual teachers like Michael Beckwith speak about, but there's a piece of you that's never been hurt, never been harmed, is whole. And if you can touch on that place, you can remember that it can't be... And it's a very abstract thing when you haven't never come in contact with it. You're like, but, these people are being physically beaten, this is, but if you can remember, there's other, it's hard to explain. But
no, I think that's well put.
We get our blinders on in moments and in situations, and we think that that's all that life is. And we start to take, there's some very serious issues in the world that, but even when we're having a hard day or bad things are happening, we start to believe that that's all there is, and we start to get emotional about it, and then we start to focus in on it, when if we could pan out
and see that there is illusion in most experiences, because we're deciding what the experience is in our own mind, and these guys decided that this prison became real. After a few hours, it was real for them, and they were prisoners. And and
these are normal young males.
Oh yeah, absolutely normal.
So it's scary, on so many different levels of how this could be applied in the world. You hear about people that, have been abused, and then when they go to trial, they're like, but why didn't you leave? Or when you had the opportunity to leave, why did you go back? And people that have been abused are like, well, that's what I knew. I felt that, safer within that torture than I did in the world. I was told all these horrible things. You start to see how that's possible.
Yes. You start to see how people are living their life based on experience.
Yeah. And especially because, you know, these young males, you know, were Stanford University students, and they come from, you know, middle, higher income families. So, you know, it's, what happens when there aren't those factors? You know, what happens when there's, like, you know, sexual abuse or, like, low income situations or some, like, mental abuse that's happened over, you know, a 10-year span? It gives you a whole nother level of compassion for individuals that have been through things, and it really takes away that confusion of when we observed as an outsider why people react the way they do when they're abused.
Right.
Gives you this deep level of compassion that is just so much more complex.
I think seeing the movie helps you get to that place pretty quickly. Like, wow, this, yeah.
And then it's so shocking watching the young men that were, and the most amazing part of it is that it was just a coin flip to decide if they were prisoners or prison guards. So it wasn't even that they saw this certain type of personality and were like, okay, let's fan that flame. It wasn't that at all.
No.
It was chance. So that's what's also really scary. So the young men that were picked as prison guards ended up being horribly abusive. Physically, emotionally.
Many of them did, yeah.
They got high on power. It was really scary to see because these are just, you know, normal young guys that just were randomly picked to be in this position. So it makes you question, you know, well, what happens when it's a personality that isn't just randomly picked to be in a position of power, that actually wants it? What level?
That's interesting.
You know, of, I don't know, it's just really, really, it just gives you a whole nother level of compassion for situations that normally you wouldn't have.
I'll get the title of the movie and put it in the notes.
Yes.
So people can look it up and try and see it. I think it just came out.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So we've got some things to go through today, some new studies, some new things in the news that we need to talk about. And the first one is BMI. Okay. BMI, I mean, we've had a problem with BMI for a long time.
BMI is bullpucky?
Yeah, exactly. BMI stands for body mass index.
Well, I mean, I remember when you were at the height of your basketball career at RMC, and you were ridiculously lean, all muscle. And when I did your BMI, when I first started my course, you were considered obese.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So the question is, why are we still using this to decide if people are overweight or obese? It's not a good marker of this. So basically, I mean, it's finally coming back to the media where we need to reevaluate it and not use it medically any longer. It's just not efficient. 54 million Americans who are considered healthy based on their labs are designated overweight or obese by the BMI, but have healthy cholesterol, healthy blood pressure. You know, their CBCs are fine. No chronic diseases, nothing. Even a good waistline. Right, like they don't have a waistline that's over a certain number of inches. That would be, you know, higher risk for type 2 diabetes. Or, so 54 million people are getting categorized, and that's not good. It doesn't help us with evaluating medically people who are actually at risk.
I think it's one of those things that it's a tool in the tool chest. So it can be used and evaluated, but then a person should also be weighed, and that should be a tool, and then also measured should also be a tool. And then we go and run all the labs and the tests. But, you know, it's the same thing when people get really against scales. Well, calm down. You know, there are people that the scale doesn't apply to. I've seen it many times in what I do. You know, a woman will be 4 weeks into the program. Scale won't be moving. I'll say, look, send me everything you ate, everything you've done. Send me a photo from week 1. Send me a photo from today. Sends a photo. Clearly has leaned out. So there's things happening there. Body fat is being lost. Muscle
is decreasing.
Right.
That's been the biggest problem with BMI.
Right. So then there's that. But you know, weighing yourself does work for a lot of people. It's not an evil, you know, mechanism.
No, for sure.
Especially if you do have a lot of weight to lose. Yeah. It's a wonderful tool to make sure that we're hitting those markers. Definitely. To make sure that things are working. To make sure that things don't need to be altered. And by altered, you know, eating needs to be cleaned up or exercise needs to be increased. Right?
Exactly.
So I think it's a tool in the tool chest. I think it shouldn't be taken super seriously.
No, it shouldn't. I mean, it's just height and weight, really, that they and age that they use to get the
well, I mean, when you were considered at that time when I would have first started this, what do you think your body fat percentage was?
Well, less than 10. I mean, I mean, definitely less than 10 at the physical level that I was at.
Yeah. So that just shows you right there.
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy because we know that muscle weighs more than fat on the body.
Yeah, and that's a saying that people get confused because it doesn't weigh more than fat; it weighs equal. But body fat takes up more room.
Exactly.
So if you see an image of 1 pound of body fat, it's large. It takes up a lot of space.
Yes, that's a good point.
When you see a pound of muscle, it's small, compact, and dense.
Yeah.
And the thing with muscle, when people get very scared of gaining muscle, and two things to that. You're not going to turn into a female bodybuilder unless you're taking extra hormone.
No, you're not. You're just not going to happen.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And the second thing to that is, as a woman, you should be thrilled with gaining muscle. I'll tell you why. More muscle, more calories you burn resting. Exactly. Your life becomes so much easier. The more muscle you have in your body, the easier everything becomes.
So true. It's such a good point.
And people get freaked out when they first start, including myself, working out. So when I first started working out, I started lifting weights, eating clean, basically doing the first 4 weeks of the bikini body when I was developing it.
Yes.
Now, my measurements on my waist and my arms went up.
Okay.
Because within the first couple weeks, I wasn't burning body fat as fast as I was collecting muscle. If I had stopped there and said, this doesn't work, to hell with this, shut it all down, I would have been in a mess. Because the great news is in the next few weeks coming, at the 6 week mark and the week 8 mark, I shed the body fat and I was leaner again.
The muscle metabolism kicked in.
100%.
Fat burning went off.
Right.
Skyrocketed.
So yes, you're going to feel a little bit fluffy, I call it, or a little bit round if you just start lifting weights and you haven't lost your body fat yet. And that's okay.
It is.
Hang in, the payoff is greater than not gaining that muscle. You don't want to be a skinny fat person.
No.
It's not healthy, and it's not a long-term solution.
No, I mean, lifting weights having a little bit of lean muscle mass is so good for you. So good for your bones. Like we said, so good for your metabolism. So good for hormone metabolism as well.
It's amazing for you. And again, I'm going to state, unless you're taking, extra hormones, it's impossible to turn into a female bodybuilder.
No.
Unless you have a genetic, something going on that it's very rare. But you're not going to turn into Hulk Hogan. It's just not going to happen.
You can gain weight, though, if you don't have proper nutrition at the same time.
100%. That's the other thing. If you're not doing diet, you're not going to lose the body fat, and you're going to gain the muscle, and you're going to see the scale go up.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel your clothes are tighter, and you're going to be like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
But think about it as the muscles building under the layer of body fat. We got to get that body fat down. That's why it's, it's all rounded. That's why it's eating, drinking water, sleeping, lifting weights, and doing appropriate cardio. Yeah, exactly. It's everything.
Now, what do you say to the person who, just January 1st got back into weightlifting, hasn't been into it for a while, and says, wow, listen, as soon as I got back into the weights, my appetite just went through the roof, and now I can't stop eating.
And, sometimes that happens. And that's okay too. Stick with your eating, your proper eating. If you're on plan, on my program, have that meal 6 option. Load in the extra veggies. Email me. Talk to me about, when you're hungry, when these things we adjust. But then your body's going to adjust. You're not going to stay ravenous. When you first start lifting weights, your body's like, what in the heck are you doing to me? Your muscles are basically tearing. And then they're collecting energy to repair. That's how it works. So you're going to be tired, you're going to be sore, and you're going to be hungry. And you know what? It's all good.
Yeah.
That's just like what it takes. It's like, again, picture yourself going up the mountain. It's going to be harder at first.
Yeah.
It's going to be the challenge. There's going to be a burn. Like, you got to work for what is awesome.
Right.
It's just, you have to surrender to it. You know, like, sometimes you're going to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're going to have to get out in front of yourself and make choices that are higher for yourself. Mm-hmm. That are going to make tomorrow better. That are going to make next week better. Everyone in life as an adult, we all have to surrender to it. Mm-hmm. And get over it.
I think you're so right about two things. One, the surrendering, but also you mentioned the veggies. Your body's looking for nutrients at that point.
And we don't starve the body at any time, but we add in things that are not crap. Because if you're lifting weights and then you're just turning to junk, then you're just going to be feeding your body stuff. You're gaining more body fat and your muscle is increasing. You're going to feel bigger. You're going to feel sluggish. Your recovery is still not going to be there because you're not getting nutrients.
No.
You know, just do the right thing the first time. Even if it's hard, even if you have to trick yourself at first. And I'm telling you, within 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to be like, thank you to your own self for pulling you until you were pushed. Mm-hmm. Right?
Exactly.
And it does happen. There's a whole pulling until you're pushed.
Definitely.
You know?
I think you're so right on the your body doesn't need extra calories. It needs extra nutrients. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's so important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, pulling until you're pushed. And I was reading this morning about delayed onset muscle soreness, and that first time when you're just getting back into weightlifting, you're just starting for the first time, you're going to be sore.
We've all been there.
You're going to be sore. But they're actually figuring out now, this has not been known, why after the next workout and the third workout and the fourth workout, why you're not as sore.
Right.
So they're just figuring it out. It's an immune response involving T cells. It's a part of the immune system that we know is for fighting viruses and bacteria, but now we're finding out, these are being recruited to the muscles to help them heal. And after that second and third workout, the reason you're not so sore is because these T cells are coming in and doing something. We don't know what yet.
Right.
But the point is, don't be scared of that initial soreness after the first workout, maybe the second workout. By the third one, for that same muscle group, you're going to be fine.
And with that, surrender to there's going to be some times of being uncomfortable. Do the things that need to be done to feel better.
And what do you use? What do you use to feel better? I mean, what would those things be for you?
Well, I employ everything. You know,
yeah, that's true.
I really do. I do it all because I just do. So, you know, if I do really heavy weights, that night I make sure I drink lots of water. I have a really high nutrient meal, so I'll do a massive kale salad with as much vegetables cooked and raw in it. You know, great source of protein. You know, sometimes I'll take magnesium at night.
Yeah.
I'll have a hot bath.
A good sleep.
You know, I'm totally unapologetic about sleep now. Mm-hmm. You know, I just don't apologize.
Well, anyone who's listened to the show, they would know about our position on sleep.
So I do whatever it takes. You know, I stretch. You know, but the biggest thing is just making it kind of funny. You know, like, I don't take myself very seriously. Like, if I'm sore, I'm not going to walk around and cry about it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be like, I can't sit and pee today. Yeah. It's torture. Right. My butt is so sore. Like, I find it kind of funny. Like,
yeah, you have to come at it with that light attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to take that seriously. We're all so blessed, you know, like, that we can even do workouts and that we can even improve our health and that we can change our bodies for the better. I mean, it's just such a gift. You can't begrudge it.
Definitely.
You know, something in human behavior I'm very interested in is just the lengths we'll go to be uncomfortable, to avoid being momentarily uncomfortable, yet we'll do things that make us tragically uncomfortable in the long run. In
the long run, it's that acute uncomfortableness we don't like. Yeah. But we don't look into the future and prepare for that. Yeah.
You know?
It is strange.
Because, like, just in that, just thinking about that, what goes on. So, say, you know, there'd be a person that, you know, lifts weights and they're really sore and they're like, this is bull, I can't do this, this stuff doesn't work, I'm starving, I'm going to eat a blizzard. And then they just get on the kick, well, they'll just eat a bunch of, like, junk food. Mm-hmm. But, like, what they're setting themselves up for is down the road in a few months' time, just misery.
Right.
Like, what is that? But they want to avoid that first uncomfortable feeling. Mm-hmm. That momentary thing that you just get over and then your life gets so much better. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an interesting part of
I mean, and I'm the queen of it. Like, you know, I'm not anymore, thank God. But the lengths I went to avoid doing what works is really shocking. And I was torturing myself in the long run.
Yeah.
But I was trying to avoid that momentary, this is what you gotta do to have true success in your life.
Yes, exactly.
How weird is that?
Well, and I've been all or nothing. That's been my story.
Yeah.
Either I'll, treat myself with biscotti or, popcorn or whatever it is and go all in on the treats.
Yeah.
And then Monday morning comes around and I'm all in with the complete opposite.
I always know when David feels like he's overindulged, because first thing Monday morning, it's like you hear the supplements open, you hear the blenders on, you hear him lifting weights, you hear the
it's part of the human experience for some people. My gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm much not as bad now, but
now it's funny. It wasn't funny before.
No.
Now it's funny. Like, you're not a crazy person. But yeah, it's just that constant, if we can just get out in front of ourselves and gently pull ourselves in the direction of, health. And that's why I always focus on health. Like, yes, my programs are for losing weight, getting in shape, toning up, looking hot, whatever. That's all true. But cultivating health and feeling at peace in your body and feeling, light and tight and getting dressed without concern and all those things, that freedom that you feel of being healthy, I wish I could tangibly explain that to people, of that each person can have that, and that how worth it is. It's like you have the winning ticket to the lottery and you're just not using it.
Wow.
That's how I feel.
I think that explains it. I mean, if you can put yourself in that position. And
it's tangible. And I'm not special. You're not special. We all can do it. We all can have it. And I was that same person that wasted, over a decade of my life doing it wrong.
Right.
And that's why I'm so passionate now. Because I just want to be like, okay, I pull you now. Like, let's just, right now, here's what you do. Here's all you have to do. I'll be your guide. I'll be your lighting force. Just do it. And I promise, you're going to fall in love with yourself forever doing the work.
You have that ticket in your pocket, cash it in.
Cash it.
Cash it in. I love that. That's cool.
It is.
That's cool. Well, I think we covered a lot today. I love that. I love that. Cash it in. If you see that, if you feel that ticket in your pocket, that's really good.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
That's Healthy Rebel Radio, episode 25. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at damihealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.